Good morning everyone, welcome back to the SIPS tutorials, this time with an imposing LDN43 band behind me, taken again by Team Ciel Austral, but this time with our C5 camera. You can find more details in the description below. In this video we will take a look at the SIPS interface. Starting with version 4, SIPS adopted the use of ribbons instead of nested menus. Nowadays ribbons are fairly common. Originally they were introduced in order to remove the search through several nested menus. But as they are typically implemented with just one ribbon showing, the search through nested menus was often replaced by a search through ribbons. Ribbons work differently in SIPS. First of all, as you can see, multiple ribbons can be visible simultaneously, so I can switch here between devices and it affects only this one container. Second of all the ribbons are fully configurable, or more precisely, which ribbons and how I see them is configurable. So I can take this and move it here into this. So now I can see devices together with tools. By default, ribbons are attached to the top edge of the screen, but that can change as well. I can grab this one and move it to the left hand side, and now it snatches to the left. I can do the same thing with the right and even bottom. What's more, I can take one of the ribbons, grab it and move it into space right here. Note that the way how it looks depends on where it was before. So if I drag it from the right hand side, it keeps the vertical look, while if I drag it from the top, it looks like this. It is maybe worth noting that some ribbons look better on the side than others. For example, devices look very nice with just buttons for different devices, while, for example, the view is going to be wider and it's not as well suited for this. On top of moving and rearranging them in containers like this, I can control which ribbons are visible. So for example, if I just use black and white images, I can permanently or semi-permanently turn off the debuyer ribbon and it disappears. If I need to bring it back, I simply right-click the ribbon bar and select the debuyer again. If I need more space and want to hide all the ribbons, I can double-click it and then I can click on the one I want to see at each time. I can do this also by right-clicking the ribbon bar again and clicking Restore Panels, or by using this arrow right here in the top right corner. Boom, boom. Now I want devices here. This setup is stored after closing SIPS into the SIPS configuration file and is persistent between instances. So if I close the SIPS now and opening again, it will look exactly the same. So we can configure it to our likings and then SIPS remembers it. This behavior can be modified by setting up specific parameters for the SIPS executable. First of all, we have the config one, so we can run and store 10 different configurations of SIPS. So I can, for example, open SIPS with config 1, and now I can hide everything but devices. Now move them to the left and close this window. If I run the SIPS again in the configuration 1, it looks exactly as we left it. This is particularly useful for doing with various different things that requires different setups on a single machine. Next, we can run SIPS in the clean configuration, which always opens it in the default setting. So any changes we did are not shown here. And finally, there is volatile configuration, which tells SIPS not to save whatever we do and change. We don't need to use the command prompt to launch SIPS like this. We can also easily modify the shortcuts and create different shortcuts to SIPS that suits our task. So for example, I have this clean and volatile shortcut that I use for making these tutorials. So that was how we can manipulate and configure ribbons. Let's take a look now at what's inside ribbons. There are essentially three types of elements in these ribbons. First of all, there are buttons that do some function, like open, save as, create a new image, and these are pretty self-explanatory. Next category are toggle buttons. So here in the view, for example, I can show center cross in an image, or I can turn on or off the show pixel pop-up, as you can see here. And final category are buttons for different tools, like the histogram and stretch tool here. Speaking about tools, there is one very important thing. Tools can be either open, closed, or they can be minimized. There is a significant difference between minimizing and closing tools, at least for some of them. It doesn't really matter for histogram and stretch, but for example, for imaging camera, we can do expositions and control cooling and guiding only when this tool is open. If I close it, then expositions are stopped, so is guiding and cooling. Instead, I need to minimize the tool to keep it running. Now you can see here that is still highlighted, that is active, and I can bring it up by clicking the tool. Previously, it was only possible to minimize the tools by clicking this button, but since version 4.2.7 a change was introduced. When I click the button once, it brings the tool up to the front if it wasn't, and when I click it again, it minimizes the tool. So I can go like this. I can also control which tools are visible by these buttons right here. So if I open a few more, I can hide all of them, I can bring them up to the front by this, and I can close them all using this button right here. Finally, there is one more thing I want to show here. More complex tools, for example astrometry, have control ribbons of their own. Exactly the same things as for the main ribbons apply here, so I can take this catalog match and bringing it together with the star search. Here it's very important to note that some of the ribbons are hidden by default. So for example, if I'm looking for field curvature, I need to right click the bar here, open it, and now I can set a field curvature for my astrometry applications. So if you can't see any tool that is, for example, mentioned in the documentation or in a tutorial, make sure that you have all the ribbons or the appropriate ribbons visible. And that's about it for the basic user interface of SIPS. I hope this was helpful. In the next video, we will take a detailed look at images in SIPS, and this will be followed by another video about lists. So if you don't want to miss those, make sure to subscribe. Goodbye for now.